Hey everyone, Kunik here, back with another D&D horror story for you today. I hope you all had a very happy holidays, and a happy new year along with it. We're going to be starting out the new year with something a little traditional, a DM having a nuclear meltdown over constructive criticism. So with that all said, let's roll for initiative and begin the story. So a little while back, a player from my campaign reached out to ask if I wanted to join his new homebrew campaign. As expected, the elevator pitch was tempting, so I took his offer. The first session took place about a week later. The first red flag was the DM's insertion of an incredibly overpowered NPC into the campaign. This NPC threatened us into going about this particular quest, and after the fact, the DM smugly showed us this NPC's character sheet to boast about how powerful she was. Her strength stat was 30. Aside from that, I didn't enjoy the session at all. The DM had played favorites and ignored my character the entire session, apart from once where he had a brief interaction with a merchant. Though I attempted to insert myself on several occasions, I was constantly talked over and the DM did not make an effort to prevent this. I figured that, as this was the first session, I'd give the DM and the campaign the benefit of the doubt, and stick it out for another session. Bad mistake. Session 2 swings around and we proceed along the main questline to the Sunless Citadel. As the other players were excluding my character from their discussions and making decisions on his behalf, he has no idea what's going on. I attempted to facilitate interactions or get in on the puzzles, but again, I am either talked over or ignored. The DM blatantly continues to play favorites. I decide it's not worth it and remain silent. The only interaction my character gets is when another player shows up late and acknowledges my existence. The session left an extremely sour taste in my mouth, and I decided to bring it up to the DM. I reached out with, "Hey, thank you for the session. Unfortunately, did not enjoy myself as I felt I was excluded and ignored at times. I thought perhaps that, as he was my friend, he would take my concerns into consideration. Nope. He blew up, insisting he gave me things to do the entire session." This was incorrect. Not once did he even address my character, nor did the other players accommodate me. He began to blame shift, claiming, "When your character is extremely meek and quiet, you can't blame the DM when the spotlight isn't on them." Fair enough, I said, but I did not want the spotlight on me. I just wanted to be acknowledged. I stood my ground and said I tried to assert myself in-game, and the DM lost his crap and started playing the victim. He said it was my fault that the game didn't go well, and that he felt he was doing a horrible job, that he had to swallow his throat and carry on. I wondered if perhaps I was in the wrong and apologized. He insisted the dynamics with my character didn't work, and that's kinda when I decided I'd leave the campaign entirely. It's only after sharing this story with a few pals that I've realized the DM was in the wrong. Rather than have a meltdown and levy blame on the player, he should have listened to my concerns. I might have needed to be more engaged somehow, but I feel a more amicable resolution could have been reached if he'd just been more open-minded. In retrospect, I think he was on a massive ego trip, if that's not obvious by the overpowered NPC with 30 strength. End post. Anytime you as a creator of anything are making something, other people are going to critique it. Trust me, I've had my fair share of it on YouTube. And yes, there comes a time when you have to stand your ground, but that usually comes after trying to consider what the player or person is recommending and critiquing what you're doing. You know, if I just shot down every idea or concern that was brought up in the comments, I wouldn't be here today, and the same goes to DMing. If you're creating a campaign with players and one of them is not happy, you need to take their concerns with the utmost care to improve their player experience. And it's not like the player here was really asking all that much, just to be included in the conversations a bit more frequently. So it's incredibly unfair to this player to be treated the way they were. But that said, considering that in the very first session, a character, non-player character that is, with 30 strength was introduced, I think it's a fair bet to have stayed away from that campaign altogether. So I think the player was in the right here. Anyhow, that's all for today's story. If you liked it and you want to see more videos just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to be notified of my future videos. As always, the source of the story is in the description below, and while you wait for my future videos, here are a few related videos that you can watch from my channel in the meantime.